Hey, what's up everyone, and well, time for another movie review, and this time it's Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, that's right. When worlds collide, two monsters fight and duke it out in the biggest universal fight of all time, just like the Avengers, just like the DC universe. It seems like every franchise is trying to get into this whole universe thing. I feel like the Avengers is the one that started it all. And some are really good, like I just mentioned, and then you got like the Dark Universe with that crappy failed Mummy reboot starring Tom Cruise, and even the still continuing Conjuring universe that has a third movie coming out this June to HBOMax in the theaters as well. But let's not get carried away. How well does this big duel matchup between the two greatest king monsters hold up? I think it holds up pretty damn good, to be exact. Now, I'm going to try to be spoiler-free to start out with. So, first of all, yes, you have returning characters from, well, only the last Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters, and that is, of course, Millie Bobby Brown, which all you Stranger Things fanatics probably are familiar with, as well as the one playing her father, played by Kyle Chandler, who coincidentally is in the 2005 remake of King Kong, not to have any connections or any relations to this movie franchise, but I just find that funny. And, well, that's about it. That's the only returning characters in this movie. Obviously, Ken Watanabe would have been great, but he's not in this, as well as Vera Farmiga, who played Millie Bobby Brown's mother. And if you saw this movie, you'd obviously know why, so spoiler alert there. But all the new faces in this film you might be familiar with. We got, of course, Rebecca Hall playing the adopted mother of this one girl who I actually have to say is probably the most interesting human character in this movie. And that could be the only downside to this movie are the human characters. Yes, alongside the other cast members that I just mentioned, you also have the same actor from Deadpool 2, the one with the fire powers. He doesn't have any fire powers in this movie, obviously. But their connection, their relationship in this movie is pretty strong. I give them credit. Their characters have a purpose, as well as this DJ type of rapper guy. He's basically like the comedy relief in this film with all the puns. He's almost like Bradley Whitford's character in the last Godzilla movie, with all the jokes and all the puns, which you may find a little cheesy at some points, but you can get used to it if you watch this movie. So, that's maybe the weak point of the film. All the human characters, and their connections with Kong are pretty good, and all the scenes with Kong are good as well. They basically take over Skull Island and make it like almost a monarch facility, keeping an eye on him, because they realize what purpose he has in this world. And he's not hostile or anything, but he realizes that he has to duke it out and fight Godzilla, who's basically wreaking havoc on the Earth, just out of nowhere. But that part I'm not going to get into because that would spoil the movie right there. You might find some really interesting surprises in the movie, but are there good fight scenes between these two Titan monsters? Yes. They are excellent. Some of them are at nighttime, but I'm glad to see, unlike the last couple Godzilla movies, that they're not all at nighttime. You actually do get some at daytime as well. A lot of them with Godzilla, of course, uses a lot of his radiation, breathing, that he puts in the air and fires it on the enemies and buildings and stuff. And you get a lot of that neon color, which a lot of it may be a little overused, but the CGI holds up very well. I mean, it's shot so well that you just get into it so much. And yeah, there is also, of course, a human villain character, which you may come across as a little predictable for some parts. I mean, this is just me saying, but we've kind of seen this before, haven't we? I was a bit surprised to see not Charles Dance's character from the last Godzilla make a return, but there is a connection if you saw the post-credit scenes of this movie that, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but it does serve purpose in this movie as well. But the best human character, in my opinion, is the child, the deaf one, who apparently was a native on Skull Island, and she connects with Kong through sign language. She almost reminds me of that child from the last Planet of the Apes movie, War for the Planet of the Apes, how she's not talking, but she uses sign language to communicate, and it plays a big role in this film. There's a lot of weird sequences that may find a little strange. You got a lot of that futuristic technology. You got, of course, a part where, the humans and all them, they team up together to help Kong defeat Godzilla and all this, and then one has to turn on them and all this nonsense for the villain. So, yeah, that's as far as I'll go with spoilers once again, but otherwise, I think this is a great film that definitely was built up for such a long time, being that it was delayed several times, mainly because of COVID. I mean, the first time last year it was delayed from March, which I knew was going to happen since there was no trailer, and then it got postponed to November, and then again it got postponed to this year, which originally was supposed to be in May, and now it got released in the end of March of this year. So I was a bit surprised seeing how the trailer finally came out, and I just didn't think that, I was a little skeptical hearing about this. I'm like, King Kong, most of the time, he gets killed off by bullets and stuff. Godzilla, he can take them easily. I didn't think this was going to be a fair match to fight one another. Not that I was trying to take sides or anything. I just wanted some good action, some good humor, and most importantly, just a good old-fashioned monster fight. And you pretty much got it. It was a little bit shorter than I thought. I mean, it was just under 2 hours, and he had a bit of a good soundtrack too. I especially liked that song at the end, just as the credits rolled, but again, I just felt like it kind of ended a little bit sooner than I thought. But otherwise, I was thoroughly entertained. No, I didn't see it in theaters, unfortunately, even though I did say I anticipated this movie as my #1 film of this year, but come on, there's just so much going on still. A lot of things are starting to get better, and if you're afraid of going to the theater still, I don't blame you. I mean, I wouldn't fully trust going to theaters just yet, even though I wanted to see this in IMAX or Dolby to get the full theatrical experience, but I think I experienced it well enough on HBOMax. So, if you have the HBOMax subscription, or if you don't want to pay for it, then you can go for the free trial subscription for like a week or so, and this is probably the best time to do so since the Justice League extended cut version that I just mentioned earlier is still out until I believe the 18th of this month. It's it's usually a 30-day thing with these hybrid release films that are playing in theaters at the same time, and this one is probably going to do the same thing. And, well, of course, the Wonder Woman movie did that, even though that wasn't so great as I mentioned, and neither was the Tom and Jerry movie. So, yeah, they've had their hit-or-miss movies on this HBO Max thing, but I would say this one was definitely a hit alongside the Justice League. This would be the best time to go for it. Watch this one, you won't be disappointed. And to answer your questions about a post-credit scene, no, there is none in this movie. So, yeah, once the credits roll, that's it. If you enjoy the good music of that one Holly song, otherwise, a good monster fight deserves the Rockin' Weird Wii Motion Plus up and the Plain Weird mode up. Trust me, this one's a good fight, which was many years in the making, but well worth the wait. So, till next time, keep watching.